Hey, what's up, guys? Milpool here again, and today we're gonna look at a game called Elevator Action. Isn't that just an awesome name? I mean, you have elevators and you have action. I don't know what more you could ask for, really, in a game. So, in this game, you are Agent 17, and there's not much backstory. You start on the roof of a 30-level building, and you have to collect documents from the building, and these kind of evil agents are trying to stop you from collecting those documents. And that's pretty much it, and the documents are in these red doors. So you find the red doors, and then you go in the doors, and you get shot. Perfect. Elevator Action was released in 1983. It was an arcade game made by Taito Corporation. The version I'm playing is the NES port that was released in 1985 by Taito. It was ported to a lot of systems, like the Commodore 64 and NES and ZX Spectrum, and it was pretty popular in the arcades, so it got a lot of port love in 1985. Okay, let's talk about the game a little bit. So you're collecting these documents and shooting these guys. You can also jump kick them and drop lights on them and crush them with elevators to kill them. And they kind of just never stop. And they'll get a little harder as the game goes on. They'll learn how to crouch and shoot you while crouched. And I'm really not focusing on what I'm doing. So every level pretty much looks like this. They just get a little more difficult. The enemies get harder. And the puzzle of the level gets harder. You control the elevators while you're in them by pressing up and down, but otherwise the elevators kind of just are on a set pattern. And then once you collect all the documents, he jumps into his car, does a donut, and then leaves. Yeah. Okay, now we're in a new building. I guess he probably did the whole grappling hook onto the roof thing. Oh, I guess it skips that part though. And we have more documents to collect. This 30-floor building. And we're just gonna dump. You can shoot out lights. That'll make the building go dark. As I said, you can also kill guys with that. In the arcade version, it sort of had more gameplay to it. When you'd shoot out a light, the enemies would become really hard to see. But that's not really the case in the NES version. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I wish I had more to say about this game, but yeah, it's kind of not as good as I remember it being. It's still fun, but I don't know how long I could really play it for. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. The only interesting thing I read about this game is like reading about Taito Corporation. Apparently they started as a distribution company in the 1950s, started by this Russian guy, and they bought and distributed vending machines, and then they started leasing out jukeboxes, and then they started making their own jukeboxes at some point, and then they started making mechanical arcade games in the 60s, and then they started making video arcade games in the 70s, and one of their designers made Space Invaders in 1978, and that was a huge hit and contributed to the arcade boom of the late 70s, early 80s. And they made a lot of other cool games like this game, like Bubble Bobble, and I died again. Yeah. That's pretty much it. I want to crush a guy with an elevator because that's pretty much the best part of this game. Yeah. I don't know if that's gonna happen though. Well, let's see if this guy will walk under the elevator. He will eventually, and that's what happens when you walk under the elevator. And that's pretty much gonna do it. thanks for watching, guys. This is Elevator Action. There were a couple sequels made. Square Enix bought Taito in 2004, and they made some kind of elevator action game for PSN, and there was a game, I think an arcade game, that was released, like Elevator Action 2 or Elevator Action Returns in '94. And it was on the Sega Saturn as well, so maybe I'll try to get some footage of that. That might be interesting, but maybe not. Maybe not. I'm just gonna kill myself now. Bye, guys.